All right, maybe we'll talk about The Mandalorian. So the last two Mandalorian episodes, which are Chapter 4 and Chapter 5, the Gunslinger and the Seven Samurai one, I thought were both really good. They both play like a Western show more so than anything. And I mentioned this on Twitter, like your feelings on The Mandalorian of these episodes being pointless kind of shows me how little certain people know about Westerns, and maybe y'all should watch some Gunsmoke or something. The fourth one was very much based on Seven Samurai. I like what they did with Gina Carano, who probably did one of her best acting jobs I've ever seen from her. I like that episode, and I like when Star Wars acknowledges the Akira Kurosawa influences. It's one of the reasons I like Last Jedi, to be honest with you, because it was able to reference and use the influence of Akira Kurosawa. I think the fourth episode did that very well. It was maybe the worst directed one, and a lot of people are bringing that up. It was directed by Bryce Dallas Howard. I don't know her other stuff. I feel like I might have seen something from her. I know she wants to direct more. I don't know much about any of that. I didn't think it was the best directed Seven Samurai riff I've ever seen in my life. I still quite liked it. I like what they did with it. I thought it was like a fun little episode. None of these have been really bad. I know people have gotten upset at the last two, but to me, I don't really get that. The second one, the one that aired, I guess, or came out or whatever, or dropped, uploaded, episode 5, The Gunslinger. I actually really like that. I like Dave Filoni's direction. I know this one referenced, Mos Eisley, and they went to Tatooine. It did feel a little too much at times with that, but I was sort of fine with it. I like Amy Sedaris playing Sigourney Weaver in Aliens, but I thought she was really good. I sort of like the comedic people that everyone's saying Dave Filoni cast them. I thought Jon Favreau cast them, but him and Filoni are obviously executive producers on that, so, who knows. But I like those casting choices. I think it opens up Star Wars quite a bit more so than we've seen from various other people. But it did feel like a classic Westerns thing. A lot of people are saying it's influenced by The Searchers. No. I'm just going to tell you that right now. That is not what happened in that one. It felt like a classic Western. It was definitely structured like a classic Western. That is not The Searchers. That is not what The Searchers is about. I understand there's like 5 Westerns people bring up, but it's cool that you did that. You should see The Searchers, by the way, but that's not what was going on here. It was basically like the idea of, it was Bobby Cannavale's son, which is super weird. I didn't think Bobby Cannavale was that old to have a son who's like in his mid-20s, but his acting wasn't great, but I get that his thing was that he's supposed to be wooden and kind of like unsure of himself, so that sort of worked for it. I was fine with it. They did like kill the woman off, who is the voice of Mulan, whose name I forget right now, but I thought they did a good job. I know that, by the way, they did the Seven Samurai thing in Clone Wars. I'd heard that before, by the way, awesome. But I like what they're doing with the show. I like these kind of isolated Western episodes, and I think it goes to what Star Wars is, which is Akira Kurosawa cowboys in space, and that's what The Mandalorian feels like. And it's really great at doing that. They can't do episodes like the Tatooine one too much. I was fine with it being an episode. I sort of like seeing Tatooine and how it's changed post the Battle of Endor and the Empire falling and stuff. I found that to be actually really interesting and refreshing, to be honest with you. It's kind of like going back to your hometown and finding out that like things have changed in the center of the town and somewhere else, and it's this weird feeling. And if you've ever done that, it is weird. And I kind of looked at it more like that than any basic kind of boringness of it. I'm liking where Mandalorian's going so far, and I think 4 and 5 were kind of like what I wanted to be and what I expected to be. I still think it's like, if you have a problem with these, maybe you have a problem with Westerns, and maybe you have a problem with samurai films, and maybe that's on you, because like under the guise of that, The Mandalorian is exactly that. Like, he doesn't need to do a crazy thing with Baby Yoda every episode, but I thought he did a good job with Baby Yoda. And I like Baby Yoda in these, and him and Amy Sedaris hanging out and all the prequel references and everything like that. So far, I'm still very satisfied, and I like that it's at its core, it feels like a 70s Western show. It feels like, something that would play next to Gunsmoke or what was the show in the made-up show in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood or something. It feels like exactly like one of those, but with Star Wars, and that's my jam. That's something I really want, and I find it both respectful and interested in going into those influences.